is the qadr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning, it doesn't mean that you blame qadr for your mistake or shortfalling or shortcomings. No. There was an interesting story. An old person was brought and he was drinking. He was intoxicated. So when they brought him to the judge asked him, why are you doing that? He said, this is qadr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Almighty has already destined for me to be intoxicated. This is the qadr. So you cannot blame me for that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already ordained this for me before I was even created. Why are you blaming me? So the judge was clever. So the judge, yes, he told him, and also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destined for you that you will be punished for it as well. So it's the same. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destined for you this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also destined for you that you will be punished. Cannot take qadr as an excuse. If qadr is to be taken as an excuse, then no person on earth will be punished or persecuted about anything in this world or in the hereafter, right? If it is an excuse. But now, qadr, the idea of qadr is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already allowed this to happen, willed it to happen. Not wanted it, He willed it, He allowed it. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't want it to happen, it would have never happened. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decreed it upon you, but not by force or something, but out of the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the supreme power and willing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has infinite will and infinite knowledge. And to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the past, present, and future is the same. So just to give you an example, a little example, just try to explain it. Qadr, by the way, it is very tricky, and the Messenger of Allah forbade people from discussing qadr extensively. So only what is required to understand the concept. Because this matter belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's out of our understanding in the details of it. But just to give you an example to clarify it. If there was a teacher and students, and that teacher was very aware of the situation of all students, so he understands them, he knows them one by one, all of them. He has been with them for 1 full year. So before the exams, the teacher will come and make a prediction out of his knowledge of them. So he says, this one is going to be the first on the class, and that one will be the second. They will compete against each other, and those will get high marks, and those will fail. This person will not make it, this one probably will fail as well. Right? The exams came, and it came real. This was the first, those get high marks, etc., and those failed. Now what happened here? Did the teacher force them to fail? Did he? He didn't, right? So how come he made this prediction? Because of his knowledge. The more precise that knowledge is, the more precise the prediction will be, right? Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has infinite and perfect knowledge. So whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed is going to happen. That is the first part. And as we say, the present and the future to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is same, just like the past. So it's never going to fail, never going to be different at all. I'll give you another example of it, just an explanation of our times. Imagine if you have seen a movie before, or a documentary, or a program, and you are watching a replay of it. Replay. So I've already watched it before. You know what is going to happen. And people are around you, and you explain to them that this person is going to jump, that person is going to get killed, and this person is going to do so and so, and this will happen and that will happen, right? Now it will happen in sequence, right? Exactly as you said it. Are you forcing the actor to do that? No. So how come all came true? Because you have a previous knowledge. To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a greater knowledge and the greater example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has perfect knowledge. That is the concept about knowledge and qadr. The second point is about the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends this to happen, but He allows it to happen. That's me. Let us go back to the same example about the teacher and the students. During the exam, if the teacher wanted to help that person, the one who was about to fail, does he have the power to do that? Does he have the ability? Can he? help him during the exam, tell him, no, don't do that, write this, write that, write this. He can't do that, right? But he didn't. Right? He let him fail. Clear? He could have saved him, but he let him fail because it's an exam. That is the correct thing to do, actually. If the teacher interfered, this is wrong. In exams, you are not supposed to interfere, right? So in the exam, this is himself. Now, can that students blame the teacher later on and say, no, it was your fault? You saw me making mistakes in the exam and you didn't correct me. Can he do that? No, blame yourself. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said repeatedly in the Holy Quran, we have not wronged them, they have wronged themselves. Even Shaitan himself in the hereafter, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, he will tell them, don't blame me. You're blaming Shaitan for everything. Don't blame me, blame yourselves. All I did is I called you and you followed, that's all. I just told you, do this, do that, and you followed, you acted upon that. So even Shaitan will actually tell them that, don't blame me. So here, the qadr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed it. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't want it to happen, it would have never happened. Nothing happens in the dominion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except with His will. Nothing. So that is the example of it. So hopefully it's clearer now, inshallah. So qadr is not to be taken as an excuse at all. Cannot take it as an excuse for your mistakes. You will still be responsible for your mistakes, your shortcomings, etc. But the qadr is a good asset for you as a matter of belief and as a matter of patience and as a matter of getting rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Being able to stand in difficult times, difficult situations, etc. The belief in qadr eases most of the pain and suffering and give you hope and glad tiding and good expectation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that you will not be trapped in sadness and agony and thinking about the failure and the problem. So this is the concept of the qadr as best as can be said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Now, I don't know about the brothers.
Islam is a life religion, and it addresses the issues and concerns from all the ages, and it sets some rules also. Now, my question is that a rule is an absolute term.
Sure.
Then how we change the rule with the changing needs? How it
Good.
addresses from the ages?
That is very true. This is a very important question, inshallah. Any more questions? This will take a little time of explanation. 2 more, inshallah. 3 more. Very quickly about this question first. The brother is saying Islam is for all life and all times. But times change, and those rules are absolute in Islam. So how do they manage the change of times? Do we change these rules, or do they still static all the time? This is actually one of the beautiful characteristics of Islamic rules and regulation. It is static and firm, especially in matters of beliefs and matters of worship, etc. However, at the same time, it is flexible to accommodate changes in the future. How come? For matters that don't change, the rule is the same. It's always static, very clear. For example, in the matter of belief, you have to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one and only, absolute. Nothing. This will never change at all, no matter whatever happened. So this is stated directly from day one, from the beginning. Similarly, all kinds of belief. The same for ibadah and salah. You have to pray 5 times each day. Whether your schedule get busier or less, etc., it's not going to change. This is not going to change. It will remain. Clear? But for lively matters, all lively matters, we find Islam giving us guidelines only. How to implement these guidelines is up to you. Example, Islam tells you in trade, don't cheat. Cheating is not allowed. That's it. Whether it is cheating online, cheating in e-commerce, cheating in trades, business, international level, whatever it is, this is not allowed. Be fair, don't cheat. Be clear. There should not be any amount of ambiguity in the contracts. They should be clear from deceives and so on. So it gives you guidelines only, and that's it. How you implement them, up to you. Whether it's online trading or face-to-face. See the concept? The concept about the life limiters. Same for example, in Islam tells you the importance of shura, for example, which is consultation, as opposed to what is called democracy. We have a form of democracy in Islam, but it's not the same like the blind democracy that you find somewhere else. Democracy in Islam is somewhat geared towards specialists only. It's called consultation, shura. You ask people who are concerned and who are specialists about the decision that you are going to make, and based on that and the suggestions and consultation, you make the decisions. This is very important in Islam, so much so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it between salah and zakah. When he spoke about the believers, those who establish the salah, and their affairs are based on consultation, on shura, and they give the zakah, to show the importance of it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself to do that. Allah says, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ, and consult them on the affair, on the matter. Consultation means what? For example, if we want to take something that concerns this masjid or this fatwa session, whom do we ask? People who are living around us, or people who are attending this fatwa session? So the consultation is regarding who? For example, you want to make a decision regarding doctors or hospitals. Whom do you take as a vote? Who votes? The doctors and the personals, or the patients, or everyone? Those who are specialists. You want to take a rule regarding education. Whom do you ask? So the voting in Islam is usually with what? With the specialists, the consultants, those who are concerned with the matter only. Now, Islam tells you this is very important, as we have explained. This is very important. The Messenger of Muhammad was ordered to implement it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it as an attribute of the believer. How do you implement this? Via electronic votings, via papers, via ballots, via polls, via surveys? It's up to you. It does not tell you how to implement it. So the rule tells you the guidelines only. How to implement it can be accommodated. So the change is possible. So for matters of life and changing matters, Islam does not tell you specific details, never. It does not tell you guideline. For example, you have to wear white only, or you have to wear a specific kind of dress. You have to put a specific headwear, or women have to dress in a specific color or something. It does not tell you any of that. It is a guideline. You have to be modest, you have to cover the aura, you have to be presentable, you have to keep it clean, and that's it. So it does not tell you details that cannot withstand time. So this is the beauty of it. Things that are static, you find static rules. Things that are changing, you find guidelines only. Is it clear? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Now, the question of the brother first. Now. نعم. The first question, the brother says, does the fatwa change for people, for example, who are living in a Muslim country and people who are living in a non-Muslim country? Yes, in matters, the fatwa changes over time and place. The fatwa changes over time and place, depending on the situation. It happens. This happens so many times throughout history. Why? Because as we mentioned, for some matters there are flexibilities, and those flexibilities are applicable at some places. They might not be applicable somewhere else. For example, in your country here, you probably don't have to perform tayammum at any time throughout the year because you have water all the time. But in some countries, although they have water, for example, the situation is extremely either cold or extremely hot. So the water is there, but they cannot use it, except it might harm their skin, etc. So they can't use tayammum at that time. So the rule here is affected by what? By the environment around them. So for you, if you are here, it says, no, this is not allowed. You cannot do that. You can manage to perform wudu normally, and thus there is no need for that. This is point number one. Point number two. Sometimes for people who are living in certain countries or non-Muslim countries, etc., they cannot manage some of the guidelines that Islam has put, some of the details that Islam has put. Let us just take one example. Imagine the matter of marriage, for example. Matter of marriage in Islam, it has conditions for the validity of marriage. If those conditions are there, the marriage is valid. Some of these conditions might not be available at some times. Here we have different opinion of scholars, and that opinion can be taken to substitute for this. So for them, you say you follow this opinion because it's easier for you. Let me just give you one example, a practical example. It might happen. This is a real example that happened to me. A family from the US, except for the husband, they embraced Islam. They came here in Dubai, they embraced Islam. They had a dog with them. A dog. It lived with them, it's part of the family. And after embracing Islam by a week or so, I get a call that, wallahi, someone has a question about that, the family that became a Muslim. And the question was, they said, we heard that dogs are impure in Islam, we cannot keep them with us. But we have keeping this dog, for ages now. It's part of the family. So what to do? Those are new Muslims now. There is a situation there with them. So how do you tackle this question? So I said to them about the opinion, the majority of scholars are of the opinion that this is impure, ritually impure. So if you had to keep it, you need to keep it outside the house when there is a need for it, etc. Or else the opinion is to avoid it. However, we have an opinion of Imam Malik that it is not ritually impure. It's not physically impure, except as a form of worship or ibadah. So cleaning it is a form of ibadah or worship. This is the opinion of Imam Malik. And you can follow this opinion for the time being, till you are used to that, till the faith inshallah will increase, you can follow that opinion. But the surprise answer was, so that we don't need the relaxations. We know which one is the stronger opinion to follow, subhanAllah. When someone is searching for the truth, it's different from someone who is searching for what? For excuses. But the concept is that here, when someone is new to the faiths, new to Islam, it does not have that strong fear, or living in different societies, it might be difficult for him to follow one specific opinion. And thus you can take the other opinion as a form of relaxation. We had another question via our online fatwa service. A woman who became a Muslim, she was the only one who became a Muslim. Her whole family, the parents and the rest of the brothers and sisters, were non-Muslims. She was still living with the family, and they had a dog in the house. So she was asking about the form of praying. Where do you pray? In which place, which carpet? Because the dog keeps moving everywhere. So it's very difficult to get a pure place, and it might touch her or lick part of the legs or something, etc., and so on. So here, which opinion do you take? Do you take the opinion of the majority of scholars, and she has to wash most of everything, every salah, for example, every time? That will be great difficulties for the time being. So here, sometimes you follow the different opinion, which is also valid, no harm about it, but although the other opinion might be stronger, you follow this opinion because this is required in this situation. Because you have a general rule in Islam, when something gets difficult, it calls for relaxation. That is a general rule. Difficulties calls for what? Relaxations. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't intend to make the religion difficult for people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. He did not make upon you in the religion any hardship. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the other ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends for you ease. He does not intend for you hardship and difficulties. So that is why the scholars deduce this general rule, and this rule can be applied at different places. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. The second question is about music. We have answered this before, actually. The vast majority of scholars state that music, except for the tambourine, the music and musical instrument, is not allowed in Islam, as a general rule. This is disputed, like many other things. So you have a few scholars who have different opinions, and some of them take this opinion only about the string instruments that have strings. So they call this is only specific regarding string instrument. So the dispute is there, but the majority, the vast majority of scholars are of the opinion that this is not allowed because of many hadith of the Messenger of Muhammad ﷺ regarding that and the understanding of scholars. So that is the short answer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Even most of the scholars who state, if it is haram, owning it or selling it or buying it is haram automatically. Whatever is haram, as the Messenger of Muhammad ﷺ said, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade something, He also make haram its price or its money. It means selling or buying or trading anything. So if those who say that it's haram, it becomes haram. Those who say that it's permissible, it becomes permissible. Then it depends on the use. Clear? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Last question was where? The last two questions? Yes, the brother first. You or? It was you. You didn't trade. Next time, because yes, we are running out of time. Inshallah, I'll take it afterwards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only one part I didn't hear correctly. That amount has to be what?
Transferred in her account.
Yes, in her account as a trust.
It's a fixed amount and she's getting the interest.
Interest. No, the interest they should not use. The interest they should put in charity. Yes, that's it. But for the money, yes, it is a trust because the children also has part of that inheritance with her. So what the company is doing is true, to protect the right of the children. If she is in dire need, she does not have, she cannot use that money, and she needs this interest amount for livelihood, she is extremely poor, some scholar allowed this, so she can take it. If she couldn't get charity from anywhere, and this is the only amount that she has with her, because this is a rule of necessity. Rule of necessity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Naam.
You spoke about the poor man who drank.
Yes.
So I think his wine was bought in stages.
Yes, true.
So can you just explain which one is first?
The stages, yes. Very quickly, yes. The stages of forbidden wine in Islam. When Islam came, as Aisha radiallahu anha said, the Holy Quran, when Islam started with asking people to believe only, the basics of belief and the basic of religion only, that's all. And it was not revealed. The halal and haram was not revealed early on. The halal and haram, do and don'ts, it wasn't revealed in the beginning. She explained, she says, if the first part of the religion was don't drink wine, they would have said, we will never give up drinking wine. They are addicted to it. They have been drinking it for all their lives. And you come from day one and tell them don't drink. They will not be able to. So that is the practicality of Islam and the mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it came in stages. So she says, till later on, when the faith was strong in their hearts, then the halal and haram came. That is the example that we gave for new Muslims. Sometimes you have to give them, don't tell them this is halal. Tell them to take the relaxation as a form of relaxation till they get. This is not lenient. You don't stretch it too far. But in some cases, sometimes they need time to adjust. So tell them still it's haram, but inshallah Allah will forgive them. Try your best. If you didn't fail, seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, try again and continue. So in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that they ask you about wine and about gambling. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, to the Prophet says, that in them are benefits for people and great harm. In them are great harm and some benefits for some people. But the harm is greater than the benefit. That's general, just general rule. There are some benefits, but very little. But the problem are these are outshadowed by the harm. Any wise person in such a case, what will he do? Will he drink or will he stop? Or he gambles or stop? So if you are wise, you should stop. I'll tell you, this is something that is, okay, fine, it tastes good, but it will give you diabetes. Enjoy it. Or stop. That's your choice, right? or eat this, but it will give you a heart pressure, heart problem, all right, in the long run. It's your choice. But if the, when the harm is very imminent or harmful or increases, a wise person will avoid that or try to be careful. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling there are some few benefits, but greater harm. And that harm is great, too much harm. So it's not just a little, like sweet things or sugar or fatty things. No, they are not as harmful as that. That's number one. The second one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade them from coming to the prayer places or praying when they are intoxicated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls, "O ye who believe, do not approach the salah when you are intoxicated until you start realizing what you are speaking." When you start understanding yourself and knowing what you are speaking about, that is when you can pray. So before that, no, they cannot. Yeah, so what time do they have exactly? Only at sleeping time. So what time are you, if someone is going to drink, when can he drink? He cannot except late at night. Cannot at any other time. And then he sleeps, wake up in the morning, no harm done. Most likely, so he's intoxicated, sleeping, wake up, it's already over, right? So he's not going to do it most of the day. So that was the second step. Later on, after some times, then it was revealed that this is the action of shaitan or satans, and he wants to increase enmity and hatred between you through intoxication and through gambling. So stay clear away from it. They stopped. So when this was revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam recited it, they all power the wines that they had in their houses, all of it, through the streets of Medina, all the streets. So this was the steps in short. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.